chapter one starts with our character Rick, who is an agent who basically gets invited to lunch with another lender. Of course, we all have had our networking meetings, and this is a networking meeting that's basically gonna change his life. He is at the brink where he is about to leave the industry. So one of the big parts that I like was that really helped set the tone is on page 9, his paragraph right here, where he starts saying, I never thought I'd see the day. It used to be so easy. A buyer would call, you show them around, they buy, they needed to sell, so you listed their home, you put a sign in the yard and it would sell. Those days are gone, let me tell you. And that is basically what we kind of right now just went through. A lot of us just had the experience where we were selling really quickly. And right now we saw a slowdown. And a lot of agents have already started making their way out. And then the scare of the whole NAR and the commissions is making people leave.
Yes, this book is very relevant right now to
Mhm.
what is happening. I think it's very relevant.
And I feel trying to read the book, I'm guessing this takes place right after the market crash. Because some of its relevance, some of its features doesn't coincide with some of the stuff we do now. So then it goes into, I like the part where she says, like, I think, when he says, I'm done, I'm gonna leave, she tells him, I hope you're not. And he's like, why is that? And she's like, because the market rises and falls all time. We all know that, but there are some things money can't buy. Reliability, integrity, all that good stuff, which is true, because that is where our business comes from. My business, it just comes already by referrals and repeated customers. Sarah goes and she does her marketing, she does her social media, she does her follow-up, but primary business all comes from referrals, right?
Yep.
It's all the years of sticking it out, and it comes back to who you know.
I did mark that part too, because markets rise and fall all the time, because that's always what I say. You have to be fluid with the market. You have to go with it. It's not gonna stay the same.
Mhm.
It's a blessing and a curse, right? Because that's what I love about this industry, but that's what you also hate about this industry, is that it's not consistent. But that's what makes it exciting and fun.
Yeah, so in this lunch, he's basically still gauging her. He's ready to be done. And all of us have either reached a point where we questioned it. I went through it 3 times in my lifetime. I even went and picked up a tutoring job. I even picked up a job working at Check and Go. And each time God told me, no, real estate's where to be. Because when it came down to it, the money is here more than anywhere else. And the other jobs, in the sense for me. Because when I went to all those jobs, it helped cover my bill, but when I would just get one client, it paid my MLS dues. And for the first 2 years, I did not struggle to pay my MLS dues. But the year 3 and 4, I struggled to pay that. Actually, 3, 4, and 5, I struggled to pay my MLS dues. But once I was going, I don't struggle with that anymore. And the rule of thumb is 3 years. If an agent can last 3 years, they are in it for good. And you'll always see the fallout of realtors is when our MLS dues are dues. You see a fallout in June and we see a fallout in January because our dues come due. And this helps you kind of reaffirm yourself. So in here, the lender basically tells him, yeah, I have all these cool things to show you, such as Google Alerts, which I don't know how Google Alerts apply.
But we have Sync.
It was like, we have Sync, and then we have social media nowadays to keep us connected with people. I guess here it made a comment that they used to clip our articles to send to people. I'm like, I don't remember ever doing that. But when I entered, it was all social
When was
media.
this book written though?
So the original hardcover came out in 2014.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
back in our day when we had the MLS phone book, maybe, I never clicked any articles, so.
Yeah, so this talks about Google Alerts about being able to keep keep in contact with our clients, our people, which in reality, we keep in contact with them with our Sync, our database, as well as with what's going on the market, listings and whatnot. And then we also stay in touch with them via social media with what's going on with their life and our life by sharing. So that part was kind of like, left me a little bit. But I like what she said in the sense of, page 13. So she talks about what generosity, actually 12 and 13, what generosity generation is. And so Jay Michaels is the speaker that's leading this training of the generation generosity. And so Richie was given my book and he was given to help highlight some stuff and whatnot. One thing that stood out to him was the note that says, the more you give, the more you get. And that is a mantra and the use of what the generosity generation is. It's coming from a place of giving. You've heard Sarah say, you heard Chris say it many times, coming from a place of contribution. That's how we get more for our clients. By coming from giving, they want to turn back and give to us, right?
Yeah.
And on page 13, they go into a little bit more details of what the generation is. And so in the old days, the only ways getting business was cold calling, door knocking, and other ways to market to strangers. Everybody spent time and money trying to attract and close people they'd never met. In the generosity generation, we can spend our time, energy, effort, and money on people we actually like and trust. In the end, those are the ones who are most valuable to our business.
All right, because that goes back to what we keep talking about with sphere of influence. Why not try and market to the people that we already know, that know us, instead of, you can do it with strangers, you can cold call, you can door knock, but you're almost starting over every single time because you're not working off of a relationship. So of course, I love this book because it goes right back to what I preach all the time, which is sphere of influence. They get tired of hearing me say it, because I'll be like, oh yeah, your sphere of influence, and oh God, here we go again, database. But this is why, because it's a much easier.
And the reason what made me love the book even more is this story is taking this agent and it's unfolding how him doing the actions his coach tells him brings in the business, how his life changes step by step. And this does not take place all in 1 month. This kind of storyline takes over the place of 6 months to a year. So it shows his life and business change in months. And the very last chapter is just like mind-boggling because it really altered his life. It went from him getting ready to leave the industry to being one of the top producers of his top
Spoiler
brokerage.
alert.
Do it, because you can do it. Now,
I don't need read.
yes, you do. Yes, you do, because you're gonna reaffirm this and see what's lacking in your system. Because what always makes us more profitable as agents is our systems. And there, like I was telling Brittany earlier today, if we're not looking at our systems to see where we could improve, we are never gonna grow. And that is always, our flaws are always in our systems or lack of systems, and there's always room for improvement. So in this book, they even start with some of the examples of what they started as an idea, and it was already working great, already had results, and the coach says, make it better. So how can we make it better? And they dive in deeper, how to increase your results, how to increase your return.
So I thought the most interesting statement, though, the funniest thing was the first one, when the guy told him, when that Don guy told him, you won't be in the business. Wait, I don't think you'll be in the business a year from now. Can you imagine? Somebody came up to you and say that to you. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, that would just be such a slap in the face. So people are gonna take that two ways, right? You're either gonna take that as a challenge and like, oh yeah, watch this, buddy. Or you're gonna be like, no, you're right, I'm not, and give up and not do it. So I thought that was super interesting. And as you read through the book, you're gonna see the change in Rick's attitude. You'll see the change in how he does and how he operates. And there are some very good clips in here, like what Michelle says to him. You know, what would it take for me to be that go-to person? She asked him, what would it take for me to be that person that you refer to? And I think that's a good question for us to ask either the people, businesses that we are referring business to. What would it take to get you to refer business to me? Your pool guy, your yard guy, as well as lenders, right? So I think it's a little different with lenders because there's only so many lenders and we work with them and we're referring business to them and we would love to get referrals back. I don't know how a lender you know, who they really.
To reciprocate.
Yeah, I mean, they do, but that's tough to get all of a lender's business. I think it's not gonna happen, but then she says, I don't need all your business, just give me a few shots per month. Right, so I think
Mhm.
that was super good. And then she said to him, well, let me turn that around. What can I do to help you? What do you need right now? So again, coming from a place of contribution, and that's what this is all about, is coming from a place. And then she went on to say, we talked all business today, but next time I wanna hear more about your goals and what you do for fun. I'll see you on Friday, because he was gonna go to that thing, so she connects with him on different levels, not just business, but she knows what he likes, right? And I think that's important when we're talking to our clients, that you kinda, I mean, you're not gonna write out the gate probably like, oh, so what are your hobbies, and what, you know, what do you like to do, what football team do you like, what do you, I mean, you know, they're probably like, what is going on? But you talk about the business, and then you do naturally get to know your clients, because then when something interesting is coming up that you think, oh, my client would like that, it's a great reason to reach out.
Yeah.
It's a super good reason.
Like I was telling Brittany this morning, it's like, lately I started sharing my Lego building on my Snap. Right? And
Oh,
a lot of Lego sets. I'm not gonna get too far into it, but since I started sharing it, and like I'll put like my trainer the other day, I'm in there and he's like, "Oh, that set's like looking really cool." So now, like every time I would talk to him, it was like all I ever talked about was real estate. Now I have something other than real estate to talk to him about, but I never thought it would ever interest him. But it's been interesting for me to see how many other people have actually re-engaged with me now on the Legos more than we ever engaged in just real estate. And it just helps get me something more than just all Jackie talks about is real estate.
well, and I think too, when you are talking to people, when I talk to my clients, ask for referrals. You gotta ask for them. You cannot, if I do something for a client, if I pay for something, I make it known, not in a bragging way, but in a nice way, like they'll be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, you know, if I paid for a repair, I'll just take care of that. Oh, that's so nice, Sarah, thank you so much, and I'll be like, yeah, you know, you're very welcome, yeah, I'll usually say something like, yeah. Just don't let anybody know it, you know, well, that's just between us, but if you get, you know, I'd love a referral. You know, we'd love to pay you back, oh, can you just pay me with a referral?
Yeah.
And I think it's important that we, you know, you ask for those referrals, don't do things in secret, if you have to reduce the commission, if you have to kick in some money, make sure your clients know. I make it known what I'm doing, not because I want some great praise, but just I want them to feel that connection and feel a little bit of.
Yeah.
That I care, we're in this together, we are a team, I'm trying to help you do this. Because the majority of my clients are either repeat or referrals. And I have generational referrals now, like, oh, I sold to them and then them, and now their kids are buying from me. And when you've been in the market, in the industry about 5 years, your business should shift to getting more listings, less buyers. And then you should really start getting some referrals. You're 5, 6, 7, 8, you should be getting them. If you're getting referrals and you haven't been licensed that long, you're doing a good job, you're doing something right. So repeat business, that's why you need to keep your database going, that's why you need to keep contacting these people, that's why you need to mark down their birthdays and reach out to them when it's their birthday. And so I have been doing these little cards. And it's a little box of chocolates from Stafford's, and it says, happy birthday, I don't know what it says, like the girls did it for me, something about happy birthday, hope you have a great day, this entitles you to thank you box at Stafford's. It's a little tiny box of chocolate, yeah, and it gives Stafford's address, their phone number. And I send it down in a little card, and so I go through, I have my clients' birthdays and I send them out. Well, I got a card back from somebody that I sent a card to. So they sent me a thank you card for the card. And, you know, just thank you so much, because it was a husband and wife, they were born in the same month. And I sent two separate cards, and they said, thank you so much for thinking of us. But it's those little things that go a long way. And I guarantee you, I've never done business with them, but they will refer people to me. Promise you they will. But
Well, I think there's like a psychological side to it as well, like, right now, for example, one of the listings that I have coming up, the guy was somewhat on the fence, right? So what I did is I'm investing like things that I wouldn't normally do.
Mhm.
And it's in his mind, he's vesting, my time's being vested.
Mhm.
And people will psychologically feel like they owe you when you give them something.
Yep.
So like I show up there and I did some extra stuff, I'm like, we're gonna get some stuff staged out there, blah, 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 do this and that, and if there was any on the fence, anything, it's gone now.
Mhm.
But not just in that situation, but just even going through a normal transaction,
Mhm.
like when you tell them about the things that you do, you're creating and you're building on like a loyalty
Mhm.
to where, and people don't wanna have to tell their story to a bunch of different people. Like the whole talking side of it, when you're talking with them on different levels,
Mhm.
you want to talk and connect as much as possible, because the more you do that, the more vested they're being in you, because without anything like that, there is zero loyalty in like the real estate game. They don't care about you, like you're just a realtor that's gonna show them the house and do this deal. But the more that you do, the extra steps that you do, the more that that's vesting with that client, and that's building loyalty.
Mhm.
And then when you stay in touch with them, it makes it very difficult for them to even go to somebody else because of everything, all the time and energy and the connections that you build. Like it does, it makes it really difficult.
Especially if you've had them verbalize, like, yeah, you'll be my go-to person. Then it's harder for them to use their cousin the
Mhm.
next time, because it's like.
'Cause they're
oh,
lying,
you're from
going back.
Sarah.
Yeah.
So it's like in the back,
right,
you're
people,
gonna see this, and
right,
I already told her, so, sorry.
I think it's important, like I said, to get them to verbalize it,
Yeah.
like, it's okay to ask for the referral too, ask for it, like, you know, oh, I'd love referrals, you know, if you know anybody else, send them my way, were you happy? It's okay to ask, were you happy with what I did, were you happy with the service that I provided? You know, could you refer people to me?
Well, and then also, when you do something extra
Mhm.
and they feel indebted to you, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, that's the perfect time to say, you know what? Refer somebody over to me and we'll call it even Steven.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think as we're reading through this book, we need to figure out how it applies to our business and how we can model it and model our business to work. Some of this is a little archaic. I mean, some of this I was like, when they were talking about, I don't even know what that is, but okay, and cutting out what, I mean, that didn't make any sense to me, but the feeling and the general idea of it is super, super important. And learning how to communicate and coming from a place of contribution. What was it Kevin Blaine always said? Helping, and it's not his saying, it's somebody else's. What was it? He said, help enough people and you only, and it's somebody else's saying.
Oh, I
It's-
don't know it.
It's somebody, I know there's somebody should know this. I believe it's one of the motivational speakers, help enough people.
Oh, wait, I think there was one from Zig Ziglar that they quoted in
It
here.
is Zig Ziglar, it's what it is, help enough people. This isn't.
It is in one of these, I'll go find
Yeah,
it for
it's
you.
something about help enough people and you'll get anything you want. And I think it does come back to you, because it's all about that energy, right? What you put out is what you give, you're and what you get when you're helping, you're positive, you're helping people, you get that back, people give that back to you.
And I like to have a lot of conversations about not real estate.
Oh,
With
yeah,
my SOI, just don't call to even talk about real estate, just call, it can be part of your real estate work, but it, you
They'll
know.
automatically ask you about.
absolutely.
They'll bring it in.
Nine times
We're
out of 10.
going. It's good.
Exactly, I mean, that's what I tell brand new agents when they're trying to work. Because it's a battle. Me and agents have this battle going on, new ones, sorry, Richard. But we have this battle, right? I tell them you need to work your sphere of influence. It is the last thing they want to do.
Easier for strangers at first than your
It's
friends.
the weirdest thing. I like, this is right here in front of you, you know, oh, look at all these people
Never
here
been
now.
that way. Yeah, always been
You all-
easier for SOI.
Yeah.
Right, it was easier for Chris, but that's also why you did 6 figures your first year.
But then I
Because
think,
you honed in on that.
didn't you also kind of work somewhat of a sales job before?
Oh,
No?
No,
Never?
it's in the oil
Fields.
fields.
No, I thought you had said something else before that where it was.
He was updating
Toothless, cousin, inbred, all that. She wasn't friendly.
Been there, brother. Were you at work?
No, I was a safety guy. Oh, the crane operator at first, I was a safety.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is it, you can have everything in life you want, if you will just help enough other people get what they want. And it is true, it is absolutely true,
Mhm.
so,
So maybe that.
Page 99, chapter 7.
So when I'm trying to get new agents to work their sphere of influence, I give them the script, and this is it. Hey, it's Sarah, I just got licensed, and I'm updating my database. Can I get your current email and they will, or you could say, hey, I just got licensed, so excited. I don't tell them to ask for the business, ask for their email, ask what, so I can send you some information. They'll always give it to you, and then they always ask, exactly, oh, that's so exciting, and oh, how's the market? That's why I don't go to the grocery store in Porterville, this is wrong, right? But I should go because the business, but I'm lazy and I slink over to Smart and Final in Visalia, cause I don't know a soul, and it's 2 minutes from my house. And then, but I go to Porterville Smart and Final. I go around the corner, oh my gosh, everybody, oh, how's the market? Oh, how's it? No,
No.
I wasn't, no,
She was on the billboard.
I was on the billboard. And I've had people in Target literally come up to me and start talking to me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, hey, girl. Yeah, and
How the heck have you been?
yeah, and then you're thinking, and then they wanna know about real estate. They all wanna talk about real estate. If they own it, they wanna talk about it. If they're thinking about owning it, they wanna talk about it.
Mhm.
So there's very, very good, easy ways to communicate with your sphere of influence.
Mhm.
And if you don't have a big sphere of influence, that's your job then for a while is to just build that.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Build that.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
You gotta do to build it.
I mean, I'm the worst.
Well, it's like this weekend alone, we have it's spring, we have so many events going on throughout the city. Go and you're gonna find someone you know. Whether it's, we're gonna have the Spring Festival next weekend. On Saturday, it's the Cinco de Mayo parade, followed by Cinco de Mayo event on Sunday at the Veterans Park, and a Mother's Day event at Veterans Park on Saturday. So it's like, aside from all the other organization events that are going on throughout on a regular basis, going out to them to connect them. That is on the Facebook, and I am on it, asking for real estate
All
referrals.
them kids got parents, so
Yeah.
Legos are expensive.
Yeah.
No, Legos are for adults too.
Yeah.
They got money to
Oh, they
throw
do.
away on Legos, so she had money to buy a house.
Don't get into it, you can get into something else, she has legs.
I know.
She's got that. going.
Yeah, you guys.
Sarah's got dogs.
Yeah, I got dogs and cows, you can't do the door that.
Who wants to do the cake baking then?
Yeah.
Those videos get a lot of
I got
watches.
some amazing. Mine. Wow.
So does anybody online, anybody have anything, any thoughts about that first chapter? Anything they like, disliked, agreed, used, anybody?
Do you wanna piss off Sarah? How many of you actually read chapter 1?
Yeah, how many of us actually read chapter
Well,
one?
I just got booked.
I have
So
not
you
read
use,
it, but it was
yes
very
or no?
informational today.
I read like 3 pages.
Someone says something.
Who said something?
It was me. I was saying that I had not gotten around to reading it, but today was very informational and just kind of boosted it on my list of things to do. So I'm excited.
Perfect, it's on her to-do list.
I promise you guys, if you read the book, you'll get a lot more out of the book study.
Hey, it's an easy read.
Oh, it's super easy.
Yeah, the letters were real big.
No,
I think like Chris.
I listened to it on audio. If you guys want to go on Audible and download it, that's how I listened to it the first time.
That's cool.
And then I start, so when I'm reading it, it's almost a refresher. Oh, it's short, really short.
Only 3 hours?
Yeah.
On audio?
Yeah, I mean, very rarely do we get a book that really applies to real estate, and
Yeah.
this one absolutely applies. It is written you know,
For us.
with the character being real estate agents and
Yeah.
renters. And so I was like, hey, this is so cool when we did it,
Oh,
but I would challenge you guys to actually read it, so I think next week, what should we do, Jackie, how many chapters? We gotta do more than one, or
Yes.
else we're gonna be here
No,
forever.
we actually do have it on what we want done, share screen, Google, share now.
There's not that
Canva.
many chapters, right?
Mm-mm.
So do like, how many meetings are we doing?
4 is our goal.
4?
And so next week we want chapters 2 through 4.
2 through 4, so read 2, 3.
Because everyone's reading chapter 1 that didn't read 1, so you're reading 4 chapters 1 through 4.
Yeah.
But if you read chapter 1, you're only reading 2 through 4.
And I would challenge you guys to actually read it, highlight it, come up with some things, ways you're using it, ways you could use it. And that way we can really delve into it a little bit more. And then I wanted to tell you guys something that happened to me that's kind of a good and a bad, but it applies to why we are why real estate agents are important, and why it's important to have one. So I have this client I've done a lot of business with. I've sold her 2 rentals, 3. I've sold her 3. I've sold 2 of her kids' houses. I've sold her mother-in-law house. I mean, it just kind of goes out, right? So she calls me and she says, hey, we're gonna list 2 of our rentals. We're gonna buy an Airbnb in Arizona. I was like, okay, cool. So I go out and look at the rentals and meet with the tenants, and I actually had pictures taken of one of them. And then we started talking, well, before this, I was talking to her and I said, hey, you better do a 1031 tax exchange. And she said, oh, well, we're gonna reinvest it all. I said, it doesn't matter. If you touch 1 dime of that money, you're gonna get taxed on the whole thing, and you're selling you're looking at about 700,000. So Cindy referred me to a really good accommodator, and I would love to bring this gal to do a Zoom with us, because she explained the whole accommodating thing so well, that there are 3 different levels. Like, there's 3 things you have to do to get 0 tax. One is you have to match like sales price for sales price. The second one is the cash that you net out of it all has to be sold. And then there was something else that was, I can't even remember the third one.
I think it's the loan has to match loan.
Loan has to match loan, something like that. So anyway, I said, let me call the accommodator, let me do it. And then I'm gonna get the information, and then you guys can talk to the accommodator, but let me just get the general information. So I did. And then I called her back with it. And then there was this silence on the phone. And she goes, oh, well, we were just gonna take the cash that we netted out of it and pay cash for a property. See, so they were gonna sell for 7, net 4 cash, and just reinvest the 4 and pay cash for a property. Well, see, they'd be taxed on the 4 and 7.
If they didn't do a 1031,
If they
Yeah.
did, well, no, you would do a 1031, but you're not matching
Like property.
like the value.
okay,
See, you
Gotcha.
sold for 7, you gotta buy for 7.
gotcha.
They sold for 7, they'd be buying for 4, they'd be taxed on the
Gotcha.
300,000.
Yeah.
So she goes, oh, I better talk to my husband. I'm like, okay, let's just stop where we're at. So of course, she calls me back, she goes, yeah, she goes, we don't want it, cause that would be probably at least 100 grand in taxes they'd have to pay. She goes, we don't wanna do that. She goes, I am so sorry. She said, I know you went to all that trouble and you had pictures taken and blah, blah, blah. And I said, she goes, can I pay for pictures? No, don't worry about it. But, okay, backtracking a little bit, when I first talked to her, she goes, yeah. She goes, we're gonna list these 2 properties, but Jeff wants to do for sale by owner. She goes, he wants to for sale. This is the first conversation. She goes, but I'm telling him, I don't have time and he's too busy and I don't know what I'm doing, so I wanna list with you. And that's how it progressed, right? So when she said to me, what can I owe you? What can I do? I said, this is what you can do. I said, you need to tell Jeff, this is the reason that we have a real estate agent, right? This is the reason that we hire a real estate agent, or that we have a relationship with a real estate agent. And, you know, it sounded a little bit mean, but I wasn't trying to be mean. I just said, tell him, I just saved you guys at least $100,000. And that is peanuts compared to what my commission would have been. She goes, absolutely. And that was the end of that, and then of course,
Then you
but I
asked for the
didn't,
referral.
but I didn't get the listen. Oh, she looked really
Sure, he gets all the referral. Now she's gonna get even more, for sure.
Yep.
But it's okay. What I'm getting at is it's okay to be the expert and it's okay to, you know, help people. And I mean, I wasn't being mean back to her, but I just wanted her to relate, I wanted her husband to relate to that.
Yeah.
Like, if they hadn't have used me,
I should have found out about it way too late, it would have been.
it would have been too late. They would have closed the escrows and they would have paid so much money in taxes.
Most agents would have just cared about getting the listing, get it sold, and go on your way.
Yeah,
I
no,
got
no.
paid.
No, once I was like, let's stop right there. So sometimes you've gotta take the higher road, but ultimately I guarantee you will come back to you. So, okay, so that was week 1. Anybody have anything else they wanna talk about? Anybody?
I would like to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello? Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes,
Hi.
ma'am.
Okay, going back to the book, chapter 1, I did read it. And I think so far it's great. But for me, what I learned from that chapter is that no matter how you feel in the morning, you always have to push yourself and get out there and try something new. If what you have been doing is not giving you the result, just keep trying and be open for new methods and be open to believing that you could do whatever you want to do and you could accomplish it.
See, that's so good, and that's another, that is a good thing. I mean, he wanted to lay in bed, right? Did you pick up on that?
Yeah.
He said, I
Yes.
had to get out of bed, I have a lunch appointment.
He yawned at us.
The only thing
Talk about
that,
yawning.
yes,
Yeah,
the only
no,
thing
that's
that
great,
motivated
Lilia.
him was the free lunch.
Yeah,
Lunch.
he only went because of the free lunch.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Be lying if I hadn't done that.
Right.
Yeah, I think we've
And
all done that.
at the end of the lunch, he decided to go to the office and work.
Yeah,
These are good.
yeah, that's right, he did.
You went to a UFC fight over that for free, just to meet with somebody.
Oh, gosh.
You didn't even wanna meet with them, but you went.
Oh, yeah, I did go to a UFC.
That was
fight.
a free dinner too.
It was,
Free dinner and UFC.
yeah, and I got to go to the Vintage Press.
Wow.
That was the initial
Where do
meeting.
you find those people?
Referrals.
Is that a silver guy?
All right, guys, have a great week. Please read the book. It's so much more impactful if you actually read the book. But if you don't be afraid to join us. I'm not gonna ground you guys.
Come, engage, and get the snippet version
It's
from
easy to
us.
read. It's easy to read.
Yeah,
Big words.
all right, guys.
Oh, words, yes.
Yeah.
And if you can't read like me, have it read to you. Audible.